Moving on, is auditing important? Yes. Someone has to check what I'm doing, even if it is self-audit. It is important. But in compliance, audit is far beyond just self-audit. So let's talk about auditing and logging when it comes to DPDP Act and privacy in India. Welcome you to my YouTube channel where you regularly see new content on data privacy. And as I mentioned, we are going to talk about auditing and logging in DPDP Act. So why does it matter? Well, simple audit trail is important to establish that an activity was done. Evidence creation to show that the activity was done. So audit trail becomes important in DPDP. Just by saying that we follow the policy, we have a written document, we follow it. That's not the proof. How would you prove when someone comes up and says, I had withdrawn my consent, but you still processed my data? How would you prove that he had withdrawn his consent or not? You need to have some log. That is why log is important, and that is why auditing regularly to ensure that you are following all the norms is also equally important. So regulators will ask you, show me how you follow the policies that you have documented. You have to show them, right? Data principal disputes, which a principal can come up and say, I have withdrawn the consent, like the example I took. How do you prove it to him? You show him a log, right? So you have to take care of these things. Audit trail helps you prove that you were compliant and the activity was done. What does DPDP expect? Very simple. For example, consent. A beautiful example, if you had the permission to process the data or not, right? Access. Who was accessing the system? Especially when there was an issue. Who was accessing the system at that point in time? Was access even marked to be controlled or not? Was retention respected, or did you end up deleting data before retention period? Or have kept the data despite retention period already gone? Both are risks. And has the deletion actually happened, or is it only just marked that, deleted? For example, if it's a logic database where systems are working on logics, how do you prove that a particular record was deleted? A log was created for it, right? That's it. Common mistakes, logs are kept forever. A lot of shadow IT. I need to accommodate more logs. Let me keep a copy of logs into some other disk. Do they have personal information? They can have at least usernames. A username there can help identify the individual. And that's a very interesting thing that I think around 98 to 99% organizations, the usernames are on the first name of the individual. Simple. So you get the username and you know whose username it is. There's no ownership to logs. Logs are generally just, traditionally have been considered as just a metadata getting created or an Excel sheet that needs to be shown to the auditors. Some people even tamper those or edit those, right? And are not able to locate them when they actually need those logs. And these are risky things. Audit trail versus application log. So application log is what is happening in the application, right? It just helps you debugging the application, make changes to the application. But audit trail is something which you need here. It is the one that helps you prove that the activity was done, right? Prove your actions, and they need to be immutable so that no one is able to tamper them. So they need to be immutable, no changes, no edits. They need to be timestamped when was the change made, and they need to be attributable. That means their attributes are like something like read-only exec set, role-based access is given so that no one is playing around with the data. What should be logged? Everything. Consent events, consent given, what consent given for what all, consent withdrawn, consent expired, access to personal data, who accessed it, when, what activity was done during that access, changes to data, deletion actions. These are the critical things that, if you look at them, can tamper the data, the authenticity of the data, make them non-immutable. That means they can be changed, right? So you need to have the consents recorded properly. You need to know who was accessing data at what time. So basically you are logging the access logs. You need to know what are the changes made to the data, and you need to know when the deletion action was taken. all the admin and privileged actions, especially of the administrators who by default get access to everything. They need to be logged. Design the trail also properly. Have a separate audit store. Append only design, which means immutable. You're not changing the audits in the logs. Very, very restricted access. You're not accessing or you're not allowing too many people to access it. Retention rules for these logs, for how long the logs be. Like DPDP Act says, e-commerce, 1 year after the last transaction. And then you clear the schema for the logs properly, right? And store them properly. For SaaS and multi-tenant systems, the same thing applies, but you need to have a tenant level visibility to this. You have a platform level oversight to the entire stuff. You need to avoid a cross-tenant leakage. On the same system, on the same SaaS application, when you have multiple tenants, tenants are not talking to each other. They're not looking into each other's data. And your contract is aligned with the way you are processing your systems. How does Audit Trail help reduce DPDP risk? Wow, it helps you troubleshoot. Simple. An audit, a log helps you troubleshoot, whether it's a technical log, whether it's an access log, whether it's a security log, it helps you troubleshoot. It can help you many a times before the problem actually gets created. You're getting faster audits. You're setting up a clear accountability. You're setting up a smooth incident response, strong trust with your principals. Principals now know that the data is being properly handled, and lower regulatory friction, because regulators would also know that they're logging and they can easily track all the information from the logs. As a summary, DPDP requires proof, not just claims. Audit trails are compliance evidences. Logging must be intentional, not circumstantial. Systems must remember their own responsibility and themselves responsibly. These are very, very important things with respect to logs and audit trails. So that was about logging, audit trailing under privacy under DPDP Act. Keep talking more about DPDP Act and privacy. So stay tuned, subscribe to my YouTube channel and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.